In this video, we will be adding the lighting for the MEP project. So you're going to want to open your MEP model, go to your level 1 lighting plan. We're going to load in a couple different light fixtures. So I'm going to load family, lighting, MEP, and internal. So first we're going to get the recessed volumetric lighting. Then we're going to get the pendant light linear 2 lamp. We're going to get the downlight recessed can. Then the plain surface light fixture. And that's going to be it from the internal family. So we're going to open these. Go back into load family. We're going to go to the external and we're going to load in the wall pack light external or exterior. And lastly, we will import the light switches family that I gave you in your MEP folder. It'll just be the light switch family here. Now we want to set our type marks for each one of these light fixture types. All of our light fixtures that we're going to use are going to be the 277 volt, and then you'll just have to match the family types on the handout. So with the 2x4s and our recessed volumetric, we're going to use a 2x4 2 lamp 277 here. You can double click on this and it will pull up your type properties. Same thing as hitting an edit type on it. We're going to set our type mark to A. So I'm just going to go through and match all of my types here on the handout. So I'm using the 2x4 as type mark A, round down light is B, the pendant will be C, wall mount will be D, and wall light exterior will be E. So we set the recessed, now the round down light will be B. We're going to use an 8-inch incandescent 277. Type mark to B. C will be the pendant lights. We're going to use a 48-inch 277. That will be C. And the wall mount fixtures will be a D, which is the plain surface light. I use a 1x4 277. And lastly, the wall pack. We loaded in 277, and this one will be E. So now we'll go through and we'll set all of our, or replace all of our lights here in the first floor. See on the handout, I have the lights tagged, at least the non 2x4 lights tagged, so you know which lights to insert and what locations. So I'm going to start off by pulling in my recessed volume 2x4 2 lamp here. Place on face. And this one will go here. Turn off thin line so it's a little bit easier to see. Hide that. You notice the 2x4s have this cross hatch pattern in here. You can just get rid of that by changing your different detail level here. I'll leave it on for the time being just so it's a little bit easier to see, where the lights are. Alright, so going back through here, keep placing them, place on face. And so there's a lot of repetition in this, so there's a lot of different ways to kind of speed up the process. So these are all 12 feet apart. So I'm just going to use a copy. I'm going to pull my lights over here and you can just type 12, 12. Next, let's place the downlights. So I'll use my downlight recessed cans. It was the 8-inch incandescent 277s that we used. Click and drag, place on face. So these are would basically be in the hard lit ceiling. So there's nothing really to line these up with. I will line them up. Next, let's place the pendant light fixtures. They're the 48-inch 277 volt. Click and drag, place on face. Spacebar rotates before you place it down, like many other families. So once again, this is just like an open ceiling in the electrical room, so don't worry too much about having lighting up with the ceiling or anything. All right, next will be the D's. The D's, remember, were the plain surface light. So these are basically wall-mounted, fixtures for the stairwell. So that was the 1x4 277. So this one we are going to leave on place on vertical face because we want this to stick to the wall here in our stairwell. And then lastly, we have a wall pack light here for the exterior staircase here. Place it over the door. All right, and let's go ahead and place the light switches. So you see here my families, I have dimmer switches, occupancy sensor, OS 3-way, single pole, just your standard 3-way. So these are basically just different subscripts on the S, on the switch symbol. So we're going to use occupancy sensors. Let's use one. And then this last switch here in behind the reception area is just a standard non-occupancy sensing switch. And we're going to have a couple occupancy sensing switches here for the main area. Sorry, we're going to have a couple three-way switches. A wall pack outside of the store here. If it's snapping or not snapping correctly and wants to go perpendicular to your door, you can just hit tab and it'll snap to a different piece. So that's the first floor. The second floor, let's actually see if we can't copy at least the restrooms and the staircase. You want to make sure you're not grabbing your panels here. You don't want to double up on those, or you may have some issues when you go to circuit everything. I'm just going to copy these guys out. Level 2. Let's try to paste align to current, and it'll paste in most of the lights here, and then we'll have to adjust a few things. So paste align to current view. You see here you have this warning: instances does not lie on host face, and they'll lose their association. So that is just talking about these two lights here. Basically, Revit doesn't like attaching the light fixtures to a roof structure. It will do either a floor or a ceiling, and so because there's a ceiling above here, it doesn't like that these are hosted to the ceiling. So it doesn't really matter for us. So we can leave these here, or if you're placing them manually, these. If you're placing these in here manually, you can always create similar. You can always come over here to the face and rotate it, and place it here on the ceiling here, and just click and drag it over into your room. You'll get this error, but that's okay. Well, like I said, for all intents and purposes, we'll be able to attach our lights here in this room to the roof. Also, we don't need this extra single pole switch here. We're just going to use occupancy sensor for this area here. You will have to click on your switches. So you see right now, if I select one of the switches that I inserted, it's at offset 0, which basically means that it's sitting on the ground, which also means that it'll show up in your first floor plan. What you want to do is elevation, not offset. So to fix that, you'll need to select all of your switches here and change the schedule level. Change this to level 2. So by doing that, automatically it pops it up to 4 feet on level 2. Now we need to add a switch over here for the stairwell. I use occupancy sensor again. Looks like I didn't grab this light over here. Actually, it may be below. Let's change view range. So here's our fixture that we added. Let's set this to 8 feet. Let's actually cut a section here and see where on the stairs these fall. Set all of the stairway lighting to 8 feet. Go back and change our view range back to where it was before. I see we can see both of our lights here. That's good. Alright, so we want to add a few more lights and switches. One will be here in the janitor's closet. We'll just use one occupancy sensor. I'll control this whole area with one OS occupancy sensor, and we'll add one over here by the door as well. Okay, so now we'll want to add in a pendant light. Let's do a wall light in the janitor's closet. Add a 1x4 there. And then lastly, we will add a wall pack light exterior out here in the on the outdoor porch. Alright, so now we'll come and start circuiting up. So now we will add the 2x4 lights here in this main area. So those are recessed, 2x4, 2 lamp, 277. And I don't believe these are in the same location as the other lights completely, so I will place these manually. See, it's snapping well into the grid lines here. Right, and these are 8 feet apart. And they're 12 feet horizontally. Sorry, our exterior lights actually go on the in between the groups of windows here. We'll place all of these here. Okay, so now we will start circuiting these lights up. I'm going to go back into my first floor ceiling plan. Alright, so the key here is that you want to select everything that you want to be on one circuit all at the same time. So we're going to do essentially all of the core, so the bathroom, the electrical room, the stairs, and the outdoor lighting, and then this the main entryway here, all in one go. So I'm selecting everything up until those three-way switches down here at the bottom. I don't want to grab those. So I'm going to select everything here. So you see, right now I have 36 items. So I have air terminals, electrical equipment, lighting ceiling plan selected. I'm going to go to filter and check none, and I just want my lighting devices and lighting fixtures. I'll say OK. And now that I just have electrical items selected, up here in the ribbon, you have a power button. So I'm just going to click on power. By default, so I just click power and I haven't clicked off of it or anything. You see that it has Revit adds these dashed lines here. That's indicating, one, that it's all part of one circuit, and two, that if you were to come up here and hit arc wire or chamfered wire, Revit will automatically place wires for you. So this is a good place to start, and that if I have a bunch of lights, I'll do this and then just go back and manually readjust some lights, because it just tends to group the closest pieces together, and that's usually not how you want things wired and switched, which is what we're going to indicate with these. So if you accidentally do either hit escape or click off of your fixtures, and you want to go back and actually have Revit do the auto wiring, you can just hover over one of the light fixtures. You can hit tab, and you see that it selects the whole system, and you have your dashed lines back. So then you can just hit click, and it selects that whole system. But now you see that. But now arc wire and chamfered wire are back as selectable items. You can just say arc wire. Now everywhere that had those dashed lines, it has an actual annotation arc wire here. But like I said, we'll want to go back and add kind of adjust the wiring. And if you accidentally miss a switch, or get too many, maybe you accidentally got in selected these switches here, there's a way to go back and edit your system. So to do that, you just click on any of the pieces that are on that circuit, and then your top tab here, you have electrical circuits. You click on that tab, and you have edit circuit. So I'm going to go into edit circuit, and this has where you can add and remove different pieces from the circuits. So I didn't have this occupancy sensor selected, so I want to make sure add circuit is selected, and you can just click on the piece you want to add. And you can do a window here, so like if you want to add a bunch of fixtures at once, you can. So now I added my switch here, and you can say finish editing. Or if you got too many things and you want to remove some, say you accidentally grab these, you would just hit remove from circuit and either select these or click on them, and it'll take them off your circuit. So I'll say finish editing. Go back and start adjusting our wires. So initially, we don't want these switches here are not controlling the bathroom, so I'm just going to delete these. And what these are, the occupancy sensor is controlling this run of 2x4s here, and the regular switch is controlling actually a couple of light fixtures that I missed. So I will click on these guys, do create similar, place on face, and these are just going to be downlights over the reception desk. All right. So it's a good chance to go back and edit our circuit. So I'm going to click on any of the lights that are on the circuit. Electrical circuit tab, edit circuit. Make sure add is selected. I'm just going to draw a window around these three down fixtures here. Okay. So in the systems tab, we have the wire command, or EW for electrical wire. This is how we're going to draw any sort of wires that we need to manually redo. So I'll do EW for electrical wire, and you have to connect these to, if I select my unit here, you see I have two of my electrical connections here. So we're going to connect to either one of these. They both work. So if I do EW, and you see I hover over the end of my unit here, the end of my switch, I get basically the connection, the blue circle with an X in it. That just means I'm connecting. So the occupancy sensor is for the 2x4s over here. Then the regular manual switch is just for these downlights. And I'm clicking, making arcs here. If you just drew from one to the other, you just get a straight line normally. So you actually have to draw the arcs in. So you have to do 3 clicks. One to start, one in the middle, and one to end it. Okay, so I'm going to look at the handout and make sure everything's wired up the way that it is in the handout. So you will notice when you click on the wire, at each end you'll see where it has 2 little dots, 2 little open circles. So one here, there's one over here. This is basically just how you control where your light hits your, or your annotation runs to, your arc. It doesn't even have to necessarily be on the unit. They're still connected. If I hit tab on here, it selects this thing. It's just the annotation is not. So you control, basically where your lights kind of go and how they attach your light fixtures by these open circles and switches and everything. If something looks too funky, then you can go in here and kind of change how everything's connected. How the wires look. If you remember, the dashed lines indicate switch legs, and the solid lines indicate just an electrical connection. So what this does is indicates what is controlled by which which switch. So there's a couple different ways to do this. You could use filters, or even or like we're going to do, visual graphics overrides. The solid lines are this one here. You can use the filter command, or just strategically use your selection tools. We want to go in here and select selector wires. We want dashed, right click, override. You want to do by element because it's just the ones you just selected. You're going to change the projection lines to, we're going to do a hidden 1/8. So say OK. Now you see this whole run of fixtures here, just with the dash lines. These are all controlled by this switch here. Same thing goes with this manual switch here, looking at the dash lines. So the switch only controls these. But these are all in the same circuit because you have your hot legs here, or your hot wires. That is just the electrical connection. Alright, so let's go through and do the restrooms as well. Pattern in 1/8. This one looks like a diesel cleanup. or you could even make the default line type dashed and then just go back and manually override the ones you want to be solid. That might be less. That would be less clicking. All right. So now we want to actually assign these to a panel. So if you click on any of your light fixtures, and then the electrical circuit tab, over here you have panel, and you click on the drop down box and you only have a H1 and H2 showing because we use a 277 volt lights for all of our fixtures. It'll only go to the H panels because remember it was a 277 480 panel. So because we're on the first floor, I want to assign these to H1. We'll click on that. Now if I go into my H1 schedule that we created, panel board schedule, H1. Now you see it has room 11, 13, 12, 14, and 10. So Revit just assigns location IDs when creating circuits depending on what it is. But we can go through here and type lighting. And lastly, we want to add a home run here. So we'll do a EW for electrical wire or arc wire. And we're just going to click and draw an arc that's open, that's not connected to anything else. And you see now we have our home run with our hot, neutral, and ground, and our arrowhead. All right, so I want to tag this. I'll hit TG, and if you click on your home run, it'll say there's no tag loaded, or you go to Insert, Load Family. The same process. So I do want to I do want to import a family. This one is going to be in the US Imperial, so the default library down here in your window. It's going to be in annotations, electrical, and then wire tag down here at the very bottom. Wire tag. Turn off leader. I want a leader on here. So I click on the home run, and now you see that it's H1-1, so that is H1-1 here. So now all of these lights in this area are now circuited to the panel correctly. So now we'll just go through look at using the handout, go through and do the rest of my circuiting for the first floor. So essentially, it's just going to be all of these light fixtures and the exterior light here. And make sure you grab your switches. And I'm going to say power. And you get a preview here. Remember I told you you get the dotted lines. That's essentially just a preview of how Revit's going to wire it up when you hit arc wire here. Hit arc wire. And I will actually go through and I'll just delete all of the runs between, all of the horizontal runs between the vertical wiring. I'm going to manually put these in. Right, so EW for wire, electrical wire. We have three sets of three-way switches here, and what this is we're going to split these banks up into three separate zones essentially. So like one fixture here will control one set of lights, one switch will control the middle section here, and then the last switch will control these three rows here. Alright, so because these are all on one circuit, it is all essentially just setting the correct dash and solid line types. So let's actually just go through and set all of these. I'm going to set all of these to be dashed. Filter wires. We just want to leave wire selected. Right click, override by element. Alright, and so we basically want to separate this set of three rows here. So override by element. Just going to reset. That'll turn it back solid. Alright, then you have these four rows here. These are all connected. So let's reset this one. Reset. Okay. Alright, so now we have dash lines between all these lights. Solid here, dash lines between these four rows. Solid. And lastly, dash lines between these four rows. So now we will show a dashed wire. So basically we're going to use a spline wire just because we're going to want to kind of snake these wires through here just so they're easily not running through any lights or anything. So this first switch here, the lowest one, I'm going to run all the way to my final row over here. This switch here I'm going to run to my middle section. Here. And lastly, we'll just use an arc wire to go from this last switch to my first row here. Alright, so because these are all switching, we will want to override and make these dashed as well. Alright, and then go and do the same thing for this bank over here. So you can't connect them to any of the lights in on this row here. So just whatever, kind of whatever the closest light is to that switch is okay. This is on the last row here. We're going to override these by element and make these hidden. Right, and then let's create a home run. So HR for, or sorry, EW for electrical wire. Draw my open arc here. I'll tag it, and because we already placed one electrical, or because we placed the first lights on panel H1, then Revit automatically assigned it to H1 and then level or space number 2. We come over to H1. Now you see we have room 3 and 2. Changes to lighting here. And Revit automatically totals up my VA. This is basically how much load the lights are pulling, and this comes from the setting inside the Revit family. It totals them up for you. Alright, now all that's left is to go in level 2 and circuit up everything here and put these on the H2 panel. So when you're done circuiting the second floor with your H2-1 for your interior lights and your H2-2 for your 4 exterior lights, we want to go back and we're going to load the family fixture, or sorry, the lighting fixture tag, and tag all of our light fixtures. So insert, load family. These are in the electrical lighting fixture tag here. So now you can go to annotate, tag all, and we have our light fixture tags here. And you can change which tag it uses here on the right hand side. Just drop down. So I can click on this, say light fixture tag standard. We don't want the box, and just say OK. Now we have our light fixture tags on all of the fixtures. We'll change this over to fine to get rid of the slash to the middle, and then you will go through and clean up basically the locations of your tags. So I want to change all of these B's, basically all of this core here. So you can go through and move them one at a time, or you can try to, just select your corner, or sorry, your core here, and just move them all in one direction or the other, and I should clean up most of them. So I have to go through and make some changes. And just do the second floor, and you will be done.